Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and Restless official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, when the kidnapper is eventually exposed, the abduction will turn fatal. When Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers eventually find out who has been holding them prisoner, they will be shocked, but who will it be? Given that Ian Ward opened his eyes and gasped in the ambulance, we can assume he survived. The morgue claims that Ian was cremated, but it's possible that he persuaded someone to assist him in maintaining the illusion of his death. But wouldn't Ian be busy pursuing Victor Newman for attempting to kill him if he was there to exact revenge? It just doesn't seem like Ian is to blame because he was already recuperating from a near-fatal injury. This leads us to a hint Billy Abbott will provide in the show airing on March 10th. Billy explores the likelihood that another madman out there is to blame after ruling out Ian. If Billy is correct, then the person who kidnaps Phyllis and Sharon might be a man who is unstable. Given that Sharon and Phyllis are being detained at Havenhurst, an abandoned mental hospital, that makes sense. Sharon first thought that their abductor might have been a previous patient or doctor there. Assuming that whoever is doing all of this is mentally ill, let's concentrate on the patient perspective. When Alan Loron first met Sharon, he said he wanted to interview her for a psychological research he was completing. Let's remember for a moment that Alan was writing a book. Given the situation, it might be time to re-examine the idea that Alan isn't actually Alan. What if Martin Loron has been posing as Alan for months and is the twin who survived the French balcony fall? The moment that Alan entered the Abbott estate with Tracy Abbott and pretended that he had never been there before is one that we will never forget. Perhaps it was because, in contrast to his brother, Martin had never been there. Martin believed he could do Alan's duties more effectively than Alan because he had previously worked for Alan and had transcribed the notes from his sessions. Martin used strong hypnosis techniques when he finally pretended to be Alan and spoke with Ashley Abbott. Let's now consider the peculiar circumstances of Sharon and Phyllis's incarceration. It seems like a perverse, severe kind of therapy, doesn't it? Perhaps the person in charge believes they are assisting, but in reality, they are causing a whole nightmare? Sharon will think about the notion that someone wants them to see their brilliance through the performance and mystery of it all in the episode that airs on March 10th. That's another hint that would be appropriate for Martin. Perhaps Martin looked up all of this information about Sharon's past with Phyllis because it has been established that Alan was conducting research for a book and that he wanted to speak with her. That makes sense since, to be honest, finding out what song was playing at the gathering where Phyllis and Sharon got into a fight would require a lot of investigation. The person behind all of this doesn't need to be someone who knows Sharon and Phyllis well because nobody would just recall that off the top of their head. All they need to be is someone who is prepared to do the research. To get the big picture here, let's review each of these hints. The kidnapper may have been a former mental patient who coerced Sharon and Phyllis into playing a game that resembles a psychotic therapy session. We could assume that Martin is in charge of this situation and that he wants to demonstrate that his drastic tactics are effective. Fortunately, Alan reappears on screen the week of March 10th to 14th, and in the preview video, he is effectively popping the question to Tracy Abbott. Is Tracy in danger of a severe fall because to YNR? Will the show finally admit that Martin is the one responsible for the kidnapping turmoil and that he has been lying to her all along? Stay tuned for more captor predictions and updates on all the stunning news that lies ahead. According to spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Sharon and Phyllis will find themselves in a desperate struggle for survival as the game goes awry. According to Monday, March 10th teasers for The Young and the Restless, Holden Novak will make advances at Claire Newman following Summer Newman's likely derailment of Kyle Abbott's schemes. Summer might decide to ruin their evening together after hearing Kyle and Claire talking on the phone. Summer's sabotage tactics make sense because it's obvious that she's jealous and wants Kyle for herself. In order to prevent Diane Jenkins Abbott and Jack Abbott from actually babysitting Harrison Abbott, Summer may try to influence events. Summer may force Kyle to forego his evening with Claire and put Harrison to bed since she has a crucial work call in Tokyo. However, Summer might come up with another emergency distraction that requires Kyle's focus. When Claire orders a martini at the GCAC bar, it appears that she will have to go it alone. Claire will grumble to herself that her drink is powerful after trying it. Holden will show up and cast doubt on Claire's suggestion that James Bond is more resilient than she is. Holden was intended to return to Los Angeles as soon as possible, so it appears that he will also have to deal with a change of plans. There may be a chance for Holden to flirt with Claire during the flight delay. If Kyle overcomes whatever obstacles Summer creates and eventually joins Claire, that could be intriguing. If Kyle sees Holden making Claire laugh and turning on the charm, he might respond with some envy. Summer may even choose to act as a matchmaker if she detects Holden's possible crush on Claire. In any case, Summer isn't giving up on getting back together with Kyle, so keep checking back for any new plans. Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will soon have to solve additional puzzles at the shuttered mental hospital. That will present fresh chances for conflict and introspection. Phyllis will eventually become severely unwell while Sharon interrogates her. Will the kidnapper be the reason why Phyllis appears to experience a wave of nausea? The kidnapper might be able to use drugs to make Phyllis feel this way, but she might alternatively pretend to be ill and stage her breakdown. It could be a ruse to persuade the abductor that Phyllis requires medical attention. In either event, Phyllis and Sharon's horror is only going to get worse before it gets better, according to our YNR predictions. Stay in for further updates on the mastermind as Sharon and Phyllis continue their investigation into who caused their trauma, according to spoilers for The Young and the Restless. March 10, 2025, Monday. On Young and Restless today, Nate fears that probing Damien's life would alienate him. Billy and Nick ponder what might have happened to Sharon and Sharon and Phyllis quarrel over riddles. Recap for Friday. Jack assumed Summer wanted Kyle back, Damien told Holden to avoid Audra, and Nate asked Audra what was going on with Holden. Nate asks Audra what's happening with Holden at the GCAC. It's all him, she claims. He wants her to be his friend because he says he needs one. She can tell him anything, Nate says, believing her. Although he realizes it can be difficult to be honest about an old flame, he still has faith in her. When they get back to the penthouse, Nate and Audra discuss Amy's strength. She's hoping his friend, a doctor, can help her. She feels that things aren't going well, and Holden is angry with his friend. Damien also seems to have a terrible temper. He informs her that Lily has also been digging, and he fears Damien will discover this and flee. Amy would suffer from that. Lily responds that Damien is merely a CEO and not a business owner when Audra inquires about what she has learned. They question why he made that untruth. It might blow up everything, Hastings fears, since too many people are asking too many questions. She implies that he is too emotionally committed to have a clear perspective. Even if he isn't ready, Nate wants to trust him. He's still holding out hope for a genuine bond between Amy and her son, as well as for him to have a brother. Although he is wary, Audra believes he should trust his gut. He is certain that he has caught glimmers of his brother's goodness. She advises them to gain more knowledge before allowing him to become more involved in their life. He can see why everyone is on edge, but Damien has left Amy feeling optimistic as well. He remains committed to bringing about the reconciliation. Nate must have faith that his half-brother will bring joy to Amy's last days. He wants to think they can be a true family, but perhaps that's too idealistic. She simply fears that Damien may not be who he believes him to be, and she does not want him to suffer harm. She believes she should continue her investigation because of this, and she swears to keep her identity private. She should stop attempting to extract information from Holden, according to Nate. Audra believes that he might be envious, which would demonstrate the significance of their relationship. He hopes she can tell that without him having to be envious. They share a kiss. Holden texts her to apologize for leaving her and to say that he still needs a buddy as she grabs her phone. Audra queries Nate on whether or not she ought to accept him as a friend. Nate responds with a text message on her phone, offering to be his friend. As they work out in the clinic basement, Phyllis accuses Sharon of making a bucket list. Despite Sharon's insistence that she isn't, the redhead makes assumptions about what might be on it. It would most likely be her final hug with her children. She would also put that on her list. Since Sharon didn't get to spend those times with them after pretending to be dead, that makes sense to her. Phyllis doesn't believe that bringing that up was polite. She says that in order to show everyone how giving and pious Sharon is, she should make giving away everything on her bucket list. The Young and the Restless spoilers, a deadly kidnapping, shocking revelations, and a twisted game of survival. What you thought you knew about The Young and the Restless is about to get flipped on its head. Hold on tight because what's coming next will leave you breathless. Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers are trapped in an unimaginable nightmare, one where the stakes couldn't be higher. As the walls close in, they uncover more than they ever could have imagined, a shocking truth that will have you on the edge of your seat. But who's behind it all? Who would be cruel enough to trap Sharon and Phyllis in a twisted game where the price of failure is death? For fans who've been keeping a close eye on the action, the mystery has deepened. Ian Ward, presumed dead after a horrific attack, is now a live specter lurking in the shadows. While Ian opened his eyes in the ambulance, there's been nothing but confusion surrounding his survival. Was he really dead? And if not, why the elaborate ruse? Could Ian have faked his own death to plot his revenge? Does he really have a vendetta against Victor Newman? Or is there something darker lurking beneath the surface? Enter Billy Abbott, whose role in the March 10th episode could turn the tide in this mystery. Billy, with his sharp instincts, has ruled Ian out as the kidnapper, and now he's onto something much more sinister. What if the person responsible for Sharon and Phyllis's nightmare isn't Ian, but another, more unhinged individual? Someone who's been living in the shadows, hidden from sight until now. The psychiatric facility and a twisted mind behind bars. The setting of this harrowing tale is just as unsettling as the mystery itself. Sharon and Phyllis are trapped in Havenhurst, an abandoned psychiatric facility that whispers of forgotten secrets and disturbed minds. At first, Sharon considered the possibility that their captor might be a former doctor or patient. But after further reflection, the clues point in a shocking direction: a twisted mind, a former patient, someone with a deep obsession with psychological games. Could it be Alan Loran, the man Sharon once crossed paths with during a psychological study? Or could he be someone else entirely? Someone pretending to be Alan? What if it's Martin Loran, Alan's twin brother who survived a deadly fall in France? It's not just a theory, it's a chilling possibility that gains more traction with each new clue. Could Martin have assumed Alan's identity to carry out a gruesome revenge plot? What if the reason he was so obsessed with Sharon wasn't just about her, but about proving himself to his brother and taking what he felt was rightfully his? Martin, who once worked alongside Alan as a transcriptionist, had long been dissatisfied with his brother's work and methods. His ambitions to be better than Alan took him down a dangerous road. Could Martin have taken over Alan's research, twisted it, and used Sharon as his final experiment? And let's not forget Alan's research for his book. Could Martin, in his obsession with outdoing Alan, have meticulously researched Sharon and Phyllis to understand their most intimate details? The eerie ability to remember specific events, like the song that played at the infamous Sharon-Phyllis confrontation, is too calculated to be a mere coincidence. No one would remember such details unless they had been digging into their past for months, maybe even years. The riddle game and the nightmare unfolding. As Sharon and Phyllis struggle to survive in the clutches of this deranged captor, they're forced to solve more riddles. Each puzzle is a twisted form of therapy, a psychological experiment that's spiraling out of control. But is their captor trying to help them, or is he merely toying with their minds? As Sharon pieces the puzzle together, she wonders if the person behind all this believes they're offering therapy through the most terrifying method possible. The latest clues paint a horrifying picture of a captor who isn't just seeking revenge, he's experimenting, testing his theories about the human mind. Could this be the work of a man so obsessed with proving his brilliance that he's willing to torture innocent people to do it? The proposal that changes everything. As this psychological thriller continues to unfold, an unexpected twist arises. In the March 10th, 14 episodes, Alan Loran, or is it Martin, makes a shocking move: he proposes to Tracy Abbott. But is this proposal a sign of true affection, or part of his warped game to manipulate her into his web? With this development, the stakes couldn't be higher. Could Tracy be walking into a trap? Has she unknowingly become a pawn in Martin's twisted plans? Meanwhile, Sharon and Phyllis's nightmare is far from over. With their captor growing increasingly erratic, the battle for survival intensifies. These two women must fight not only for their lives but for their sanity as they unravel a plot that's as twisted as it is deadly. Will they uncover the identity of their captor before it's too late? And if they do, will they be able to escape the nightmare that has ensnared them? The final confrontation, survival or death. The Young and the Restless spoilers are promising more shocking twists and turns ahead. As the drama reaches its boiling point, Sharon and Phyllis will be forced into a final, frantic battle for survival. Who will emerge victorious in this twisted game? But it's not just the kidnapping that has fans on the edge of their seats. There's also a brewing storm surrounding Summer Newman's jealousy and sabotage of Kyle Abbott's plans with Claire Newman. What lengths will Summer go to in order to win Kyle back? And with Holden Novak caught in the web of Claire's charms, will Summer's plans to break up their budding romance succeed? Or will Holden's flirtation with Claire become the catalyst for a much larger rivalry? Don't miss out! As Sharon and Phyllis face the worst nightmare of their lives, the drama on The Young and the Restless continues to heat up. What's really happening at Havenhurst? Is it possible that Martin Laurent has been pulling the strings all along? The answers are coming, and you don't want to miss a minute of this shocking revelation. Stay tuned for more explosive updates, and don't forget to keep watching as secrets unravel, alliances shift, and lives hang in the balance. The game is far from over, and the stakes have never been higher.